This is the story of a young man who now faces 20 years in prison for saving people caught in a violent sea storm. The story begins in the summer of 2015, when a young man named Lucas notices that hundreds of thousands of refugees are making their way to Germany and Europe. They are fleeing war and violence, hoping for protection and a better future. While working at a grocery store, Lucas watches a mother refuse to buy her son a football because she has no money. So Lucas goes to a refugee camp himself and donates supplies. He gives that little boy a football and plays the game with him. These refugees flee countries like Libya, trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea in overcrowded rubber boats. But now the European government has shut down the rescue missions meant to save them. People are drowning in the ocean. And Lucas starts talking about buying a rescue ship to help them. But he has no money, nothing. He only wants to use the energy of youth to find a creative solution. He begins searching for ships listed for sale online. He tells his mom about his plan, but his mom worries about his future and his career. She says he will never raise enough money. She warns that his resume will show a gap year. Meanwhile, his girlfriend Kitty will work at human rights law firms and really advance the cause. But Lucas does not listen to her. His girlfriend Kitty supports him too. She tells him his mom might be right, but he should not back down now. He should do it. Still, Kitty will not abandon her studies to join him, and Lucas would never ask her to. But here Kitty gives his mission a name, Jugend Rettet, which means youth saves. Lucas goes to banks for financial help. He goes to charities. He goes to politicians. But everyone refuses to help him. To them, his project is naive and unrealistic. So he prints posters for his mission and hands them out to people. But not a single person shows up to his first meeting. And the moment he gets home, he receives the news that hundreds of refugees have died in the Mediterranean Sea. The boat carrying 700 refugees capsized because the refugees rushed to the side of the vessel as the rescuers were arriving. In just the first few months of this year, nearly 1,600 people have perished trying to escape Africa to reach Italy. The moment she hears this news, Lucas's roommate Nina joins him. She tells him that, timing-wise, it is already too late to plan a mission this year. Their goal should be to get a vessel into the Mediterranean by next summer. So they have 6 months to do everything. Lucas is overjoyed to see that he has found his first partner. Lucas will take care of the ship, and Nina will handle logistics and things like recruiting volunteers. They need 300,000 euros for this mission, and Lucas plans to gather the money through crowdfunding, donations, charity, and a flea market. He starts looking at ships. He starts asking for donations. A girl named Dominique joins them and becomes their head of PR. They finalize a logo. But even 6 weeks later, Lucas is still searching for a ship. The German Film Academy loves their idea so much that they give them one of their available offices to use for free. They build a website for their mission. But Lucas cannot find the right ship. And they need to show donors a ship as soon as possible, or the donations will stop coming in. By week 18, they have raised 120,000 euros. And one night, Lucas gets a call. A ship that was not available before is now available. Excited, Lucas shares the news with Nina. This ship is a patrol boat in the North Sea. There is room for over 200 people on deck, and it has a lower entry point, so it is easier to get people on board. But it costs 150,000, which is higher than what they have raised. Which means they cannot buy this ship through crowdfunding. There are other options. One is an e-cigarette startup that will give them 20,000 euros if they print its slogan on the life jackets. And the next option is a married couple with a private foundation. They go to meet this couple. The couple asks him, "Have you got anyone with actual experience working with you, or anyone with a solid financial background to manage the funds?" Lucas says, "You are right. We are not professionals, but we are serious. And that is exactly why we are looking for experienced people like you." But the couple says, "So, nobody." Lucas and his teammates are disheartened. But then the couple calls again. They say, "We do have concerns about the depth of expertise in your project and how you will finance the missions in the long term. But we will buy your ship." The moment they hear this, everyone goes crazy with joy. Lucas's group even makes the news, with reports that they have spent the past 2 months renovating their ship to rescue refugees. Volkswagen mechanics who read about the electrical problems on Facebook stop by to help for this good cause. After that, their ship is fully ready to set off from Malta. In July 2026, more members join the team. Paula reads on Facebook that they need someone who speaks Arabic, and she joins the mission. Soren is their head of mission and the oldest one here. And Viola is their ship's captain, who was with Soren on the Sea Watch. Then Sue joins them, who will serve as an onboard doctor on this ship. The ship departs from Malta. Along the way, Sue teaches everyone how to give CPR. Viola teaches them how to spot something through binoculars and report its location to the others. These are all amateurs, learning everything as they go. How to save drowning people and everything else. Tomorrow they will reach the 25-mile zone off Libya, which means the rubber dinghies transporting refugees could appear at any moment. And these passengers are usually traumatized. They will have to rescue these passengers and also destroy the rubber dinghies, but not if it puts their safety at risk. Because the Libyan Coast Guard, or call them the Libyan militia, will be there too. And they are dangerous. So on July 26, 2016, 18 nautical miles off the coast of Libya, they spot a rubber boat. After informing the authorities about this, they take a raft toward the boat. Seeing their raft, the refugees begin waving at them. Lucas says, "We are here to help you." Here there is a refugee named Lamin who speaks English. Lucas asks how many women and children are there. They give the life vests they brought to all the refugees. But these people start fighting over them too. Lucas says, "We have enough for everyone." One by one, the refugees are brought aboard the Juventa. There is a baby here too. Mauro reassures the baby's mother and takes the baby in his arms, so it will be easier for them to come aboard. The moment Mauro takes the baby in his arms, he feels something unexplainable. Both the baby and the mother are brought aboard. The refugees begin to celebrate and dance in the joy of surviving. These people will set fire to their rubber dinghy so that its engine, floating in the sea, does not fall into the hands of fishermen. Dr. Sue treats a wound on the mother, Rose, and talks with her while doing so. Rose was from a small village in Nigeria. There, a jihadist militant organization came and began killing people and forcing themselves on the women. So Rose fled from the village to the city, but things were not easy in the city either. So this journey on the boat was her first time at sea. She does not even know how to swim. She only had to keep her child alive. Lucas tells the refugees that from here, the Italian Coast Guard will take them to Italy. He thanks Lamin too, and tells him this was his first time. So Lamin tells him, "I wanted to be a very educated man, but they had no money for even food." He was traveling with a friend, who is no longer alive. They worked in a gold mine in Burkina Faso, where many people die because of the 50-degree high temperatures. Lamin says, "But you have a good job here. You do good and get paid." So Lucas tells him, "We don't get paid." At this, Lamin jokes, "Then it's a shitty job." After that, the refugees are handed over to the Coast Guard. As he leaves, Lamin gives Lucas one of his bracelets. Meeting these refugees and learning their story leaves Lucas completely emotional. But they also celebrate this success of theirs. Sitting there, Mauro shares his experience of holding that baby with Lucas. After that, on July 29th, they rescue some more refugees too. Every single refugee's story is sad. For a few days, these rescues go very smoothly. But one day, Lucas arrives at a rescue where a woman is severely ill. And while she is being handed over, some people fall into the water. They try to come toward Lucas's raft. But Lucas pulls his raft back, because this is not their procedure. He goes closer and first takes the sick woman into the raft. But they do not even let her brother board. They carry the unconscious woman toward the Juventa. Along the way, they give her CPR. But she is not breathing. On the Juventa, Sue gives her CPR, but she is dead. Sue stops Lucas from giving any more CPR, telling him it is over. But this affects Lucas deeply. The entire crew is grief-stricken. Sue explains that he could not have saved her, that she was already gone when he brought her onto the boat. But Lucas cannot bring himself to accept it. On August 16th, after their first mission ends, he returns to Berlin. But the trauma of that incident has not left his mind. He wakes up at night while sleeping, and from outside his room, he hears the voices of refugees screaming for help. The ocean water has reached his feet. Lucas's mind keeps replaying that rescue with the dead woman. All of this is his hallucination. He sees that Mauro is in the same state. The two of them just sit and stare at each other. After that, while they are doing a podcast about their mission, they get a call on the podcast from a man who asks, "Why aren't you taking these people back to Africa?" Nina explains that according to the Geneva Refugee Convention, they are not allowed to return anyone to an unsafe country like Libya. Lucas says that even if they did do that, these people would be thrown into prison and tortured. So the caller says, "Then why bring them all here? Drop them off in some African country. Our problems won't get any better if we take in more migrants. You people are helping those people, not the people of Germany." So on September 29th, a speedboat comes racing toward their ship from the other direction. Afraid that it might be the militia, they start sending everyone into the engine room. These men look armed. So Viola radios all stations for help, saying, "I have a pirate attack." Soren tells the men coming with guns, "We only do search and rescue." Lucas, sitting on the call, can hear the sound of guns firing. So these men climb aboard the ship and ask, "Where is the crew?" They start searching the entire ship for the crew. Everyone is found in the engine room and pulled out. This militia checks their passports. And they say, "This is Libyan national water." But Viola knew that this was international water. So the militia gives them a clear threat that if they see them next time, they will arrest them and sink the ship in the water. The whole crew is shaken by this incident. But they inform Lucas that they want to keep the mission going. Nina, though, tells them to take a break for a few weeks. During this time, they will do a danger assessment and make adjustments. But the ship crew's point is, what about those refugees in all that time, who will save them? But the final decision is Lucas's, and he says to take the break. After that, Lucas begins to feel lost within himself. But then he gets a call from Lumen, and seeing it completely changes Lucas's mood. Lumen had found Lucas through Facebook and contacted him. Lumen has learned German and has made it to Germany. He first took a train without a ticket, and when he was thrown off, he started walking and he reached Germany. After that, he called his mother, who broke into tears the moment she heard his voice, because she had thought he was dead. So talking with Lumen completely changes Lucas's mood. That night, he goes to Nina and talks with her. They had thought at first that just buying the ship would fix all their problems, but buying the ship was only the beginning. Online, these people are getting a lot of hate. Their website and all their social media are hacked. On top of that, the Italian Coast Guard orders the Juventa to the port of Lampedusa with only 5 refugees on board. There are 5 more rubber dinghies around them. If they go to Lampedusa from here, they will not be able to help them. Viola and Soren do not want to waste 2 days going to Lampedusa. At which Lucas says, "No, you cannot do that. If you do that, we will cancel all future missions. We have to cooperate with the authorities." After that, one night, the bell at Lucas's home starts ringing violently. A gang of fascists, calling themselves refugees, is telling him to open the door. They call the cops. But the fascists do not stop knocking on the door. Mauro starts having a panic attack. His condition was already very bad from that dead woman's incident. He cannot breathe. After that, during a family dinner, Lucas's mom starts telling him, "I told you that you would do this for just 1 year, but you have been doing it for 2 years. You haven't even started a degree yet. You can't go on like this." Lucas shouts that I wish I could just stop. I wish no one needed rescuing anymore, or that someone else would do it. But no one steps in. And Lucas will not stop until it changes. So the Italian Coast Guard had checked their entire ship. Because of this, 2 of their days were wasted, and they could not save people. Nina says, but ignoring the authorities is not a good solution. Soren says, "It's our ship, we do as we please." Lucas says, "It's not your ship, it's not ours, none of us paid for it." Dominique says too that if we don't follow the rules, we will be called criminals, and we will lose all our funding. So here Viola makes a comment on Dominique's designer clothes. She says, "I carry corpses on the ship, and you just sit at your desk." Which Dominique does not like at all, because she too is working with all her effort. Without the work done at the desk, they would not have a single penny. Dominique gets angry and leaves. Viola's words had stung her deeply. And on top of that, Dominique is facing all the hate on social media too. She decides to work elsewhere. So in April 2017, Lucas arrives in Malta again to rejoin the ship crew. And during a rescue mission, it is raining very heavily. There are way too many refugees. And the Coast Guard has not come to help yet. Their ship is completely full of refugees. Viola says, "We have to get everyone on the deck and dump the life rafts. Otherwise, the ship will not be able to move forward in this weather." They take the refugees below deck, so there is room for more refugees to come up. Viola calls for help on the radio, saying "Mayday, Mayday." But there is no response coming. A man falls off the rubber dinghy. Lucas reaches his hand out toward him, but he too falls into the water along with this man. He struggles and gets onto the rubber dinghy. He was praying to God for help. And nearby there was another rubber dinghy full of refugees. They stay stuck there for 48 hours, and no other ship or Coast Guard comes to help. They had to watch people drown as they ran out of space on board and life vests. So this work of theirs is spoken of as good. But their rescue ship is also a pull factor. Refugees, thinking that someone will rescue them, get onto those rubber boats and leave their countries. But Lucas says that this is absolutely not the case. People do it because they are in war zones. They can't even feed their families. They get onto those rubber dinghies knowing that it is life or death. So Lucas is asked about the allegations against them, that they are working with human traffickers. Lucas denies all these allegations. These allegations are being made because they cannot always destroy the refugees' boats and engines. Lucas says that in the middle of the sea, their priority is to save people, not to handle boats. So at the end of July, Lucas meets Kitty. He tells her that the authorities are fighting the refugees, so they are fighting them too. The Italian government has asked them to sign a code of conduct. They want the police to ride along on the Juventa so they can interrogate the refugees as soon as they board. But Lucas is not going to sign this code of conduct. After that, the Coast Guard leaves 2 people on board the Juventa. These people are making videos here. They are here to do interviews for the documentary. So Lucas stops them from filming. But on August 2nd, the authorities seize the Juventa for a police investigation. The entire crew is thrown off the ship. Nina tells them, "We are going to get charged with human trafficking." It is already in the media. Nina has arranged a lawyer. They meet the lawyer the next day, who tells them that there are 3 criminal offenses against them. The first suggests a direct handover of people from the smugglers to the Juventa. The second is a hand gesture like waving, which proves communication and establishes a relationship between them and the refugees. And the third one accuses them of returning 3 boats to Libyan smugglers. The authorities had someone on board who took these photos. Now these people had just moved the boats out of their way. But these photos tell a different story. So the Italian authorities also had the conversations inside the Juventa recorded, which means these people had bugged their ship. This must have happened when they had called them to Lampedusa for checking. So because of this serious accusation of people smuggling, they could face 5 to 20 years in jail and a €15,000 fine per person brought into Italy. But after all of this, Lucas gets a call from Lumen again, who is now speaking fluent German. He has completed school and is about to do an apprenticeship as an industrial mechanic. And he has called Lucas to tell him this, because all of it happened because of his crew. Today he is able to follow his dreams because of them. So Lucas tells him about the ship being seized, at which Lumen says, "I can testify. I can tell them that you don't work with smugglers. We can all testify. You saved us and now we save you." Lucas shares this thing with the others. What if the refugees testified for them? But to do this, they would now have to find these refugees scattered all across Europe. So Viola, Lucas, and Soren cannot leave Lampedusa. Because if they tried to leave, they could arrest them, saying they tried to flee. But Lucas finds a way around it. Mauro had a sailing license. He charters a boat and gets Lucas and the others out of Lampedusa. Reaching the middle of international waters, they come out from inside the boat. After that, this case became one of the longest and most elaborate against a civilian rescue organization in history. The Italian authorities wanted to set a precedent with them, despite there being no evidence to support their claims. So the crew of the Juventa had documented every single transfer and reported it to the authorities. Lucas's team found the refugees they had rescued, and they were all willing to testify for them. They told the court how terrible the conditions were that they had been living in their countries. And the Juventa saved them, with no collaboration with smugglers. If the people of the Juventa had not been there, these refugees would be dead today. So after 40 hearings over 7 years in 2024, the crew of the Juventa was declared innocent. And it was said that the act of saving lives at sea is not, and has never been, a criminal offense. So the crew of the Juventa had saved the lives of more than 23,000 people in 2 years. And almost €1 million were spent on this trial. With that, they could have saved even more lives for 4 years, or bought 6 more ships like the Juventa. But nevertheless, with this, the story ends here. How did you find this explanation? Be sure to let us know by commenting, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.